Hello, everyone, and welcome to the JT
And the Jersey Jewel.
Show.
Yeah.
How you doing, JT?
I'm all right. It's been a minute, hasn't it? Where
It
you
sure
been?
has, I know.
You okay?
I'm okay. How about you?
I'm M-OK.
All right.
Remember that? Ugh.
So, I have an incredible guest today.
Is that right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
You are going to flip.
But
So-
will I plots?
So, this woman I got the honor of interviewing, and now
Okay.
I brought her here
Yeah.
because she's that cool. All right? So,
Okay.
everyone, let me introduce Maryann Boom Boom Maisano. Say hello to the world.
Yo.
Hey, what's going on? Hey there, JT. First time meeting you. How
What
are
is
you?
up, Maryann? It's good to see you. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing really well.
Yes.
As Jerry says, I'm a happening place and a funky bass. What can I
Well,
tell you?
there you go. And as Rocky Balboa said, yo, Maryann, you're looking very great tonight. I just got to tell you.
Hey, thanks. Yeah. I
Absolutely.
like your impersonations. They're very cute. What else do
Absolutely,
you do?
absolutely.
What else do you do, John?
They're many and varied. I mean, hey, I got that kid of mine. He's a wonderful kid. Yeah, he scotch tapes worms to the sidewalk just to see the puppies get hernias. Yeah. Kid of
Love
mine, let me
it.
tell you.
Love it.
Do the Godfather and call her Boom Boom.
You come to me on the day of my daughters to be married, boom, boom. I don't know what to do. What can I do for you? You can't be a man, damn it. You can't be a man, so don't be a man.
Very good.
I love it. Thank you.
I do two very bad impersonations.
Oh, good.
All right, do 'em.
Would you like to hear them, John?
Absolutely. Let's give me what you got.
Okay, my first impersonation is Fredo in the lake house with Michael. And Fredo goes, I'm smart. I'm smart. I'm smart, Michael. That's it. Then I do Hyman Roth, okay, when he's waiting for Michael to bring the suitcase, right?
Yes.
So Hyman Roth gets up very slow and he goes, when I open that suitcase, if there's $2 million in it, I know I have a partner. If not, I don't. That's it. Okay?
I can't do any. I love both of you. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Michael, I never wanted this for you. Senator Corleone, Governor Corleone. I never wanted this for you. I never
That's
did.
right.
Hey, boys. The boys are in the back. Close that door, baby, but say hello to everybody.
Hello?
Oh,
Hey, it's
how
Uncle
you doing?
Gino. Forget about it. Hey, it's Pop. What do we do with Pop? Put him out in the garage. We got company coming over. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Beat the child. Beat the child. So, Mare, how you doing, Boom Boom?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, thank God. Yeah, things are going well. I just finished finally. We were working on this for quite a while, but I finished filming. It's out now. It's in film festivals. My short movie.
Tell everyone the title. I love it.
The title of it is called The Key, and it's an LGBTQ short, lesbian based, and it's really interesting. It's something really. It's kind of a different way of doing a movie. And what I did was I actually wrote a monologue about a year ago about a situation that I was involved in, and about 7 months later, somewhere on like Facebook, on a Fort Lee page, somebody put up a picture of like when somebody chops down a tree and there's just the rings of the tree of the trunk, right?
Of course, yes.
They put a key in the center of it, and I was so enamored by this picture with the tree and the key on the tree trunk that I pulled it over to my desktop, and that's when I started writing this monologue, right, about the key. So everything in this movie is true with the exception of the key. And I don't know, like creatives are a little weird. So I was sitting in my house one day, and I said that I went to go to a short festival, and when I got back, I was a little inspired, and I said, I bet you I could turn this monologue into a short. So I took it and I broke it into scenes, right? And then I said to myself, you know what? I don't want the actresses to have any dialogue. I want them to react to my narrative.
Okay.
So I found this beautiful meditative music, and I narrated the entire monologue.
Oh,
And then I had two young women come in and react to everything that I was saying and feeling and thinking of in this monologue. And then the interesting thing is that it says, so 20 years later, and the screen goes black, and then I walk in because I was one of those women in this relationship. And then I come in, but the end, that's what makes it a rom-com, because then I make it very funny at the end. And there's two endings. When the first ending is done, you have to go through the credits, first credit, and then there's the second ending.
oh,
So it's interesting because, sometimes you sit, you're creative and you sit by yourself and you go like, wow, I really like that. I think that's a great idea. That's brilliant. And then an hour later, you walk back and you go, gee, does that suck?
What the hell was I thinking? Oi, how dumb verkachte can I get? Ugh.
Yes. And I wound up calling a really good friend of mine, and we've been in theater together, and he's a brilliant actor and playwright and teaches acting. And I started telling him, Frank, what do you think? And he goes to me, Mayor, I think it's brilliant. I go, you think it's brilliant? Okay, that's great. That's what I wanted to hear. So it's out right now in film festivals, and then hopefully we're going to pop it up on Vimeo on demand and Roku on demand.
yes.
And we'll have some other streaming networks that we're waiting for right now.
So John doesn't really know much about you, so I'm introducing all this great stuff to him with you.
Yeah.
Tell him and everyone listening about the Italian Chicks.
All right, the Italian Chicks is about it's a 2-hour, almost 2-hour casino-style comedy and variety show, and it really takes you back to a time and place when life was simpler, and all your memories were made, right? As growing up as a child.
Of course.
And I'm the headliner and creator and producer of the show. Mr. Danny Aiello wound up endorsing the show for 12 years up until his passing 2 years ago.
Wow.
And it's a great show. It's fun. I mean, there's two other women in the show with me, and everybody gets up because you meet Italians. It doesn't matter. Everybody has the same stories.
Yeah.
Just different places. It's different things. Everybody relates to the same different things.
Of course.
So my show is really kind of different in the fact that it's just not, it's the whole family comes. It's like, they bring the mother, the father, then they got to bring the uncles, then they have the cousins, and they have the, and then a few times there's a couple of nonnas in there too,
Oh.
So it's interesting because the age varies from, I don't know, I'd say from 28 to 82.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. And the fact that we do, we do some song parodies and we make it real. And it's just, I don't know, I love doing it, and the show's been well received. So that's one of the things I do. And then I'm a singer, songwriter, and musician.
I saw the guitar. I see it right there.
Thank you, yeah.
To your right, my left.
Yes, and I started doing that. My God, when I was 12 years old, I won a guitar down the Jersey Shore.
Nice.
In Seaside Heights on a Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
And I put a quarter. I was with my brother. I put a quarter on number 30, and the wheel goes around, and all of a sudden I win, and the guy goes, "Little girl, you could have your pick of the stand." And I go, "I want the guitar." My brother goes, "Don't get the guitar. You know how to play. Get the freaking TV."
Yeah.
Like, no, I want the guitar.
I want the guitar.
And then I went to the local music store and I bought all these books. And every day when I came home from school, I sat in my room and I just keep playing my guitar until finally I learned how to play House of the Rising Sun.
There you go.
And then that's what I played every day for like a month,
Yeah, it's all right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, John,
Yeah.
if you have any questions.
Well, I was gonna make just a quick mention, and it's maybe something to double back on at some point down the road. Back to your short there called The Key. First of all,
Yeah.
I'd like to check it out. Now, second of all, first statement would be our friend Ruben, who's been helpful here this evening. He's got a website initiative that he's working on that is another possible outlet for you to display your wares, so to speak, your video wares. It's called Cinekan.net. It's a work in progress right now, but CINEKAN net, and that's designed to, when it's buffed and polished and really looking super, to be another clearinghouse, another resource for people, not only to view stuff, but for folks like yourself,
Right.
whether they're getting stiff-armed, put off or not by other resources to display what you've got so it can be showcased. So that was number one. I might suggest maybe getting with him at some point as things continue to burgeon and unfold. Number two,
Yeah.
where specifically, you mentioned some of the online resources, but where specifically in some of these festivals will people be able to check it out? Because that just sounds
Well, right
interesting.
now I just entered it. We just finished everything and wrapped up the editing last week.
Oh, wow,
So as
brand
soon
new.
as it was done,
Yeah,
I went right on and I started popping it into film festivals.
beautiful.
So we don't even have an end date yet. Like we haven't even been selected yet. They're still in the process
Gotcha.
of doing the drawing. So I won't know that until maybe, I think there was one that comes in at the end of December,
Okay.
but there's a lot in June. But I also have, I have a one-woman play that I filmed in front of a live audience during the pandemic.
Oh my.
It was only 60 people. Everybody
Still.
was masked, and it was great. We had a 3-camera shoot, and it's really my life story. It's and people always think like, why do you think your life story is so freaking interesting? And
Why not? Is the answer.
yeah, and mine kind of was because my dad, my family, they were born in Europe, and my mom was here first as a child, and my dad came here when he was like 17. Met my
Gotcha.
mom, and he met her when she was 16, and they got married when she was 16 years old.
Wow.
And then he got drafted into the American Army and had to go back to Europe.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. So then he came, they settled my mom lived in Fort Lee anyway, where he met her. And when he came back, he bought this house in Fort Lee that was right by the literally 500 feet from the George Washington Bridge.
Wow.
And what he did was he opened up the first cab company in Fort Lee. It was
Oh,
called
my.
Joe's Taxi.
Uh-huh.
So the funny thing about it, like growing up as a child, you retain a lot of different things.
Sure.
And it's so funny because back in the day, I mean, we didn't have CB radios or cell phones,
Yeah.
So my father was at the taxi stand, which was right around the corner by the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd have to run home every half hour to see if there was a call for him to go pick up somebody, right?
Oh, wow.
So what he did, it was just fascinating to me. He went to an old lumber yard and he got an old telephone pole. And he came home and he plowed it into the front of the yard of the house, right? And he put a huge spotlight on top. And he ran the wire through the yard into the house. Now, anytime my mom got a phone call, she would write it down, plug in the spotlight. He would see it from the taxi stand and come home.
Wow, it's like the bat signal.
Yes, It was wild. So we had and then of course it developed into CB radios. We had like 4 phones in the house. It was never, all you kept hearing was breaker, 19.
That's too funny, okay?
Oh my God, all this shit going on all the time, right? And then it's funny because, I run into people and I don't know these people, but I'll be somewhere and someone will mention my name and they'll go, was your father? And I go, yeah. And they go, oh, let me tell you, the little old ladies and they're adorable,
Oh.
Let me tell you something. We only used your father's company. You know why? Because we knew we were either going to get your father, your brother, or all your cousins.
I love
We
it.
didn't want to use the other one because we thought we were going to get these carnival people that were just coming in and out of town,
Yeah.
right? And then she said something that, because you learn things about your family that you didn't know.
Right.
And she said to me, I used to give my kids money in the morning to pay your father because he would take them to school.
Oh.
And when they would come home, I would clear out their clothes or whatever, and I would see that they had a lot of money left over. And I would
Your
say,
father gave it to them.
yeah, and she said, didn't you give Joe the money? And the kid said, Joe only charges $1 for kids.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness, I love your father.
So, well, that was him because my dad. The interesting thing about my dad was that he was a typical. Look, it was innate in his culture. He was a ladies' man. And he just loved the ladies. And back in the day, it was generational. My parents, I'm the youngest of four, so I was the bump in the night baby. So the big generation gap between me and my sister and brother. And so he would go out and do his thing, and then I was the only one home. Everybody else was married, and my
Yeah.
mom would drag me to go catch him with his gumat. So me and my father never got along because then I was like very protective of my mother.
Yeah.
And then, growing up, like I would see her argue with him about this, and he would just like leave and then come back home. And then what she would do is she wouldn't talk to him for 3 days. And after 3 days, she would say, "Joe, come and eat." And as a kid, I would just sit there and go like, did he ever say he was sorry?
Oh.
Why is she cooking for him? Like, is this what love is all about? So this went on like my whole life, and
Right.
it kind of skewed my perception of love as an adult.
Oh my.
Because 1 minute I was very unavailable, like my father, and the next minute I was available, like my mother.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So, and then I wound up coming out in the film, but they're very interesting stories about my relatives coming over because my dad brought everybody over to live with us, and then they stayed here. And that play was filmed, and it's called Ajita.
Of course it is.
I love it.
Ajita, and that can be seen.
Oh, he's
on
got the
Vimeo.
agita. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I got the Ajita. That could be seen on Vimeo on demand.
Nice.
So that's where we're going with that right now, and it's won 4 international film festivals, which is great. One for
Nice.
best stage play, best drama, best comedy, because it is a dramedy.
Of course.
So like it's just like I'm a singer, songwriter, musician, storyteller, actor. I'm just a creative person, and I just love to do a lot of different things.
When is your birthday?
I'm on the cusp. I'm July 22nd, so I'm Cancer and Leo.
Oh, okay, because I'm a Pisces, and a lot of creative people outside of the so-called box are usually Pisces, and so I love that. Okay.
Yeah, well, Cancer and Leo. It's funny because Cancer is water, and Leo is fire. So I always say one puts the other out when one's getting crazy. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I always say I'm the good fish and the bad fish swimming in
Right.
opposite directions.
Right.
I love that, what you just said. Very cool. Okay.
Well, it's true because one is the crab,
Yeah.
and that's the homebody, the nester,
Yeah.
and the other one is the lion,
Yeah.
and that wants to be seen. And I happen to be one of those people, and I hate to say this because there's comics are interesting people, and as I say, I'm a storyteller, but there are times I've met friends of mine for lunch who are comics, and you sit down and all they want to do is start telling their bits. And I don't do bits. I do shit that happens to me for real.
Right.
That's like, I could be talking on the phone to you, John, and tell you a story that happened today, and you can go like, "Oh shit, man, that's funny. You better write it down." And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Really?"
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it happens because I was never one to sit there with a notebook and go like, "Oh, I got to write something funny about whatever." I don't work that way.
No, I find the same thing, that a lot of good comedy comes from experiences. I mean, I had buddies in college who, their father was a character, an absolute character. He's been gone since January of '99, and my college buddies and I, they've gone their way and I've gone mine. But there for a while, oh my God, it was not a bit. It was actual happenings of my pal, his brother, and their parents, and it just
Right.
we come back from break, and I'd be like, okay, what happened? Tell me
Right.
what happened. Oh my God, John, you can't believe it. Remember I told you we had that trip booked, to the Dominican. Oh no, what happened? And it's a 20-minute story about the life
Yeah.
and times and the happenings, and it was just funny stuff. The experiential humor. I like bits. I love the quick rim shot stuff. I like it all. Been there, done it. We'll probably do it here shortly at some point when the opportunity arises. But the experiential, story-based, funny, Sign me up, man. No doubt.
Yeah, right. It's just a different animal because
Yeah.
people are. It's funny because when you step outside of yourself and there's an audience in front of you, and you're in the middle of these stories, and all of a sudden, like it goes from you can hear a pin drop
Mm-hmm.
to these people laughing hysterical,
Yep.
and it's just amazing. It's just I just love it. I mean, it's just something that I knew this is what I wanted to do ever since I was 5 years old.
Oh my. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, because my mother would all the Bisons in my my family, they come over every Sunday for dinner,
Yep.
and my mom would be in the kitchen making dessert, and she'd say, Mariann, well, mommy makes the coffee, go inside and sing for everybody. And I would get on a chair and stand up and sing,
Oh
and they
my.
did this, and I was like, that's it,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Do you sing for us?
I don't know. I have something that John and I tried before. If it works, it was a little Christmas thing we could try.
Okay.
Yeah. Light it
Yeah.
up.
Well, let's see if it works. If you guys, you let me know if you're having a problem with the sound,
Okay.
and then I will stop it, okay?
All right.
If you want to sing along, just, feel free.
I got you.
The snow's coming down. I'm watching it fall. Lots of people around. So baby, please come home. Have a church bells in town. Oh, singing that song full of happy sounds. So baby, please come home. They are singing Deck the Hall. But it's not like Christmas at all. 'Cause I remember when a year was here, and all the fun we had last year. Pretty lights on the tree, I'm watching them shine. You should be here with me. Baby, please come home. Hey!
Tis the season, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, and good night. Yeah.
They're singing Deck the Hall, but it's not like Christmas at all. 'Cause I remember when a year was here, and all the fun we had last year. If there was a way, I'd hold back these tears, but it's Christmas Day. So baby, please come home. Baby, please come home. Baby, please come home. There you go.
There it is.
Amazing. I loved it.
10 days till Christmas Eve,
Thank
by
you.
the way. Holy fright.
That
Just
was
in
beautiful.
I
time.
know, right?
Just in time. Yeah, 10 days. How can you dig it? Wow.
Holy jeez.
Yeah, yeah. It seemed like we just did this last year. Wait, what?
I know, right? It keeps happening. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Every year it rolls around quicker than the next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Well,
That was
thank
awesome.
you.
You made my night.
Oh, thank you.
Oh
I
my
appreciate
gosh.
that.
Good
So
stuff.
cool. She's awesome, isn't she?
I agree. Yeah. Now we have
Thanks.
another friend, which is why you already had the friend. Now I have another friend.
See, now you
This
have
is
another
That's right.
See
He
how
needs
nice?
Hey,
friends.
friend.
Boom, boom. He needs friends.
You can never have too many. Come on.
No, that's true. That's so true.
There it is.
So
Right.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, growing up, like in the neighborhoods and with the Italian families and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, and all the, amazing, cool things. And we were always, though, told what was expected of us. Did you experience that?
You mean, give me an example like what was expected.
All right, so for instance, okay, like my parents, they expected me to have a beauty salon. So
Oh.
I didn't want to do that, but of course, my dad put me through beauty school and bought me a beauty salon because that's how they do things because they expect it.
Right.
All right, so anyway, long story short, did things like this happen with you where like they had this box already set for what your life was going to be. I'm asking you that to then say how your family welcomed what you do.
Well, that's interesting because, as I said, there was such an age disparity between me and my sisters that I really was like the rebel because they were older and more obedient, and my father was way more strict. I mean,
Okay.
you know, in the play, I mean, it sounds like a joke, but it was true. I mean, when my cousins came over from Italy, my one cousin told me that she was promised. And I was like, promised? What does
Wow.
that mean? So that meant that when you were born, your parents gave you to the man you were going to marry.
Whoa.
And
Wow.
what they did was, your mother got your baby picture, walked down 4,000 flights of stairs in Calabria, knocked on somebody's door, and you changed pictures of the baby. She got the baby boy, she gave him the baby girl, and that was it. So when they came to America, they were still promised to these men that were growing up over there.
But wait, I have a question. How many years? I mean, how much of an age difference? How old
There
were
was
they?
12 years between me and my next sister.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, my brother's already deceased.
Okay, so
So
you
he
weren't
was-
promised, right?
No, that's the whole thing. So
Yeah.
they were promising. It was funny because the funny thing about that, my mother became more Americanized, and my father still was in this traditional head. And he would say, so funny, they were never allowed to go out on dates because the only way you could date someone is if you were going to marry them.
If you were promised.
Wow.
And when you said you were a hairdresser, my older sister became a beautician.
Yeah.
And what did my father do? He opened up a beauty salon in the basement.
Okay. My dad's family, all the women were beauticians, so that's why
Right.
I had to. That's what they
Right.
did.
Wow.
So with me, what was interesting, I started my first band in high school when I was 12 years old, and we did high school dances. And then I got involved in this rock and roll band. And then, the long-haired guys and all that jazz and, Blind Faith and stuff like that, right? So,
Mhm.
and he didn't like his little daughter getting in the van with these guys for a weekend going away and gigging. So he put a challenge to me and said to me, Maryann, you better get the real job and at the benefits. Because they knew that they could never tell me what to do because I was very defiant. I wasn't like my sisters. I wasn't obedient. I wasn't going to ever follow any rule. And so what happened was that's when I got a job in banking as a teller by accident.
Oh my.
And then I became very successful by accident. And when you start out as a musician and you're making, you don't have back in the, you're getting paid in cash, okay? Yeah. I mean, my amplifiers were end tables in my apartment. That was it. You know what I mean? Like that's the way you live.
Yep.
And you didn't have like money and credit cards and shit like that.
No.
So I started in the bank and I started getting successful. Then all of a sudden it becomes that crossroad in your life where the devil kind of steps in a little bit and says, got some money for you, kiddo. And now you're like, this kind of looks interesting. And I wound up becoming vice president of sales. And I was running, a tri-state bank, New York, New Jersey, and Florida. And I did this for almost 18 years of my life in different banks. And, when you're in a position like that and you're up in that corporate atmosphere, you lose your perspective of everything else you want to do because you don't have the time or the energy or you don't have the creativity anymore.
That's right.
Because it's sucked out of you. And I remember in 2006 giving one of my motivational seminars to the sales team. And I always started it out because it was always new people by saying, how many of you in here knew that you wanted to be a banker when you grew up? And nobody raised their hand. And I would always say, of course not. You wanted to be a ballerina or a fireman. Come on.
Yeah.
And I go through this whole reason why they had to learn how to be salespeople because the world changed. Okay. They were order takers when they were hired, but now they have to be salespeople. And what happened then was I said, I knew what I wanted to be when I was 5 years old. And that's when I heard it come out of my mouth. And that's when I walked into the CEO's office. The CEO and chairman personally hired me the next day, and I resigned my six-figure position. Now, interestingly enough, I didn't tell my mom because my father was already deceased. And my mom, and I was like the one kid that really kind of made it in the family, you know what I mean? That had a couple of bucks. If you needed something, you'd call us, you'd help you out, you know what I mean? And when I'm in the chips, you're in the chips,
Yep.
And so I didn't say anything, and I pretended I was going to work every day, and I would call her the same time, like when I get in, and just bullshit. Yeah, well, how was work, babe? Yeah, same, blah blah blah. And then we were doing our first gig because I was putting together the show. I mean, Danny just recorded my original song, City of Lights, which was nominated for a Grammy, right?
Right.
Then I put together the Italian Chick show, and I was writing Agita. So now they do this big spread in the papers up here, and we were going to be at Frank Sinatra Park. And they did the whole thing, and my God, they came down, took shots, the whole story of my face right and splattered in the middle. So next day I call her, and like when somebody has like talking to you like they swallowed the canary. And she was being a little like playful with me, and she's like, "So what's going on, babe?" And I'm like, "Nothing, ma. Really, got nothing to tell me new?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"No."
here it comes.
She goes, "Mommy read the paper today. I saw your picture," and immediately I was like, "Oh shit."
Ah,
And then
man.
she said to me, "I just want to let you know, you are my baby, and you can do anything."
There it
I
is.
love that.
And that was it. And my father, who, like I said, he and I never got along, but when he passed away, that he didn't read and write English real well, so everything was phonetic. So I was in his little office going through like Manila folders one day, and I saw this one folder, and it said Marianna, and I looked in it, and any article that was printed about me, whether it was music or banking, where I was like opening up offices and cutting ribbons or something, he printed it out and laminated it.
That's
Wow.
beautiful.
So that's how it's interesting how it all played out. And that's why the play is so interesting, because it all comes full circle.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, and not for anything, same church, different pew. I do another program here before we do the JT and the Jersey Jewel thing.
Uh,
More of a, how do you want to call it? More of a highlighting the upbeat, the positive, the can do, stuff like that. Because to me, there's just not enough of it being talked about out there. Anyway, point being, part of what I talked about is when you lose people, it stinks. It sucks. There's no two ways about it. They're fine because they get to go off to the next big adventure, but we're just here holding the bag, so to speak, and it just stinks on
yeah.
ice. Well, I'm clearly somewhat blessed here and there, depending upon who it is. I can impersonate people. I can imitate people. Okay. I lost my mother about 8.5 years ago. My dad 2 years ago last week. But they're still around because, I can hear my mother when I do something or say something or get involved in something that she wouldn't be down with. I don't like that. I just don't like that. Or my father, hey, what are you doing there? You two are a couple of goofers. You really are, okay? And I will do this. Like people will say, "Hey, so how's things going? With now that your mom and dad have been around." I'm like, you know what? They're still around, and I'll peel off a line, to people who knew them, and they're like, "Wow, it's like they're still here." I said, I did that when I was probably 22, 23. My grandmother had been gone for 8, 9, 10 years, and she had this distinctive little laugh. I really can't do it well anymore because my voice is deeper now than what it was even back then. But
Right.
it was kind of like a, when she'd find something funny. But I used to be able to do it to people. If they didn't know that it wasn't my Grammy, they would look around, "Where's Helen?" And I'm like,
Right. That's cool.
"That's me." And I peeled one off one time when we all got together at my one cousin's house, like 9, 10 years after my grandmother was gone. My one aunt, my youngest, my mother's one of 6, 3 boys, 3 girls in that order. My mom's number 4, or was number 4, the oldest girl. The youngest girl still alive. She's the last one. But back then, I peeled off something. I'm like, you know what? Grammy would have heard that and went tee hee. And I got this look out of my aunt. Half was like, "Oh my God, that was great," and the other half was like, "How dare you?" You know what I mean? Kind of
I love
like
it.
all those characters characters that Patty Duke used to play as an adult woman. You know, the angry mother, the angry, the angry wife, the jilted wife. That's my youngest. That's my one aunt. Okay, she can be very much like that. And to my cousin's credit, she said, "Oh my gosh, did everybody catch that? It's like Grammy's still here." And everybody's like, "Yeah!" I'm like, wow, dodge that bullet. But the thing of it is, I say that to say, like with your father and all those clippings and such, you don't know what you miss if until you know what you miss. I mean, that sounds kind of stupid, but you know what I mean, Mayor. It's one of those things, and still, my dad's not around anymore, but he's right here. Yeah. He's right here with me. My mother's not around anymore, but she's right here with me. Okay, you need a quick line, I can give you a line. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what she would say. Yes, Mrs. Corey, I understand. Oh my goodness, that's just like your father. Yes, Mr. Gilslider, you're exactly right. That is just like my father. His voice and mine when I was growing up were kind of the same. They used to call for him, whomever would call, and they would think I was him. I'm 15, 16 years old. I'm like, and my father would answer the phone, "Hello," okay, and I was close. I would go, "Hello." Okay. Hey, John, listen about that budget meeting we have to have next week. Mr. Smith, and Mr. Smith, oh, hello? Oh, is this young John? Yes, it is. Oh, my goodness, it sounds just like your father. And that's when it dawned on me, you know what? I can be him if I need to. And once or twice I did. Shh, don't tell nobody. You know what I mean? But now that
I don't talk to nobody.
Nah, forget about it. It's shh, quiet. And but now, just like with your dad, being able to recall whatever one can recall from days gone by, whether it's he saved all these things, or I can peel off a line just like my father. Okay.
Well, as far as
it's comforting to have those things either in mind or on paper somehow. It's comfort. That's what I'm getting at, I guess.
But Mayor, you're right, because what that meant was he was so proud of you.
He was right
They
here.
couldn't say it. They never said it.
They never said it, right?
But he was, and
right.
So I know you don't have that much more time with us, but I want you to take the mic. I want you to give everyone out there your info, how they can check out all your stuff, do all, and you don't leave until you're ready to. But I don't want you to forget to do that. So do that, please.
Sure. Yeah. No, I was just going to say though, it's funny because I feel the same way you do, John. Because when my dad passed, and as I said, it was a tumultuous relationship.
Yeah.
My mom asked me to do the eulogy, and I was like, "Oh shit,"
Yeah. Fart's sakes, really?
And I'm at home because I'm thinking, you can't improvise here. You better write shit down, make it nice now, And I remembered like being standing up, and it was like packed house, standing room only.
Yeah.
And I'm up there, and I'm like all nervous, and I would twitch then once in a while when it came to him. I'd be like, my eye would twitch and shit, right? And I remember saying, I want to thank you all for coming here tonight. And then I just like took the speech and I threw it away, and I said, listen, you all know that my dad and I never got along. Okay? But you know what? I just realized something really important tonight. I realized that I love my father.
Yeah.
And then I explained all of his, that he was generous, that he was charismatic, that he was all of these things. And it's funny because my mom was the rock, and she was an amazing woman. And if you ask anybody about her, they always go, "Oh, we love Mary. She was such a sweetheart," and she was.
Yeah.
But I realized that I'm very similar to my father, because I never knew that he played guitar. All of a sudden, one day he picked up an acoustic guitar I had. And he started playing these like Italian folk songs with like chords that I never saw in my life. Wow. And I was like, the hell is that?
Yeah.
So, you learn. And to this day, I still have my mom, a photo of her in the credenza right in the living room there, a photo of my dad when he got out of the Army. But they're in separate frames because they used to have separate bedrooms. So
I'll be
just
darned.
kept it that way.
Yeah, well,
But I still today will walk over to that photo and I'll say, "Ma, what do you think?" And I talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's comforting to me because I do believe she's with me and she hears me,
There it is. I mean, I've got mother and dad. They both. Dad used to talk about this, and I thought it was weird back then. I don't want to be buried. I don't want to be amongst the bugs and the worms. I don't like that. No, that just gives me the willies. You know, and then as they got older, they got more pragmatic about stuff like that. And I have them both. I had their little urns up on the fireplace in the house where I grew up that I'm currently living in. I'm going to be divesting myself of that after 2 years, but I digress. I'm in the house I grew up in East Brunswick, New Jersey. I could literally walk off of exit 9, literally, and you could be at the house. And there they are up on the fireplace mantle. Okay, so once in a while I set up my stuff like I have here tonight. I'll bring it home and I'll set it up at the dining room table. I'll sit at the head of the table and I'll be like, oh, what am I going to do? Dad, what about it, pal? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Mother, come on. You got that business acumen, head on your shoulders. Talk to me, baby. Tell me something. And I'll be like, ooh, get up, go to the kitchen, get myself a coffee or something. It's not coffee, it's a coffee because I'm from Jersey.
Coffee.
Because I'm from Jersey. I have a dear friend she lives out in the Midwest now. She says, when did it become a coffee? I said, sweetie, you lived here all your life until you didn't. It's always been a coffee. Anyway, I'll go get a coffee or something and come back in. And I'm like, so what about it, Dad? Mother, you got something for Oh, got it. Search, answer. Thank you.
I want to share something. I want to share something with you guys. So, my father, I was very close to my father. Me and my mother butt heads, like you and your dad. She was a tough lady. But anyway, my father owned a painting company, J.I. Painting. Him and his partner passed away. My brother became a partner with him and still has it to this day. And they have big accounts in New York City, Columbia University, Rockefeller Center, and my brother still has the accounts. So whenever I did anything, because I went to art school, my father would shake his head and pull his hair and say, what are you doing? And send me, and he paid, okay? So I went to art school in New York, School of Visual Arts in '79.
Nice.
So whenever I opened up another salon or lip moved or whatever, he would have to bring his guys for weekends at a time because I didn't just let them paint 2 colors. The outside of my one house on the road he lived on that he bought me because I had to be on his road was hot pink, purple, and turquoise on the outside.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
So anyway, his whole life, this is all I heard. Boom, boom. What the hell is wrong with you? Why can't you make everything off-white? Come on. I don't like it, these colors. I don't like it, these colors. All right. You ready for this? This was the greatest gift God could give me. When he got Alzheimer's, and it was in the beginning. He knew he was supposed to know me, but he didn't know me, but he knew he was supposed to be with me.
Right.
And I redid a house I bought, the 55 and over. My brother brought the crew, and I said, I need sunshine in my life. Make everything different yellows. So my house has different yellows inside, okay? My father comes over. I go get him. I make him his favorite Italian meal. He walks in. And he looks at the colors, and he doesn't know I'm his daughter. And he says, this is beautiful. Are you an interior decorator? I love all the colors. That was the greatest gift. It was like you opening up that folder and getting seeing all your ads that my father could have given me because he really did love my colors, but he could never tell me that.
He couldn't say it. No.
Okay.
Couldn't say it. Yeah.
So same thing. So that's a beautiful story with what you told me, and I'm going to be thinking about that.
Thank you.
So
I'll tell you where you guys could find me. It's pretty simple.
Here we go.
You just go to theitalianchicks.com, and you have to put the S after the chicks, otherwise you get porn. It's still good exposure.
Okay, who's the victim? Number 1, but number 2, that's not where I want to go right now. Let's see. Italian chicks, chick, ICKS, and there. All right, home, the Italian chicks comedy.
Porn. What the heck's wrong? He's pretending he's on your site.
Oh, look at that porn. Look at
I am not looking at the historical websites.
He's got you up. He's got you up.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's what I used to
Well,
tell
the
him.
interesting thing, if you go to that site, you can then find me from there. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Also, there are separate tabs for Ajita the Play, and you
Nice.
can go in and see the trailer there. For the key, there's a separate tab if you go
Yes.
into the home squares.
I'm seeing it all
And
right
you
now.
see-
Very easy
Yeah,
to
you see the
navigate
trailer
through, I
there?
have to tell you. Very easy to navigate through.
Excellent, good. And the interesting thing about these two films is that I raised the money all through donations on the internet.
Nice. Wow. Good for you.
And anybody that donated over $50 got their names in the credit.
Beautiful.
Very cool.
Yeah. So,
I like
it's the way to do things, instead of being controlled.
Yeah, heck yeah, baby.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I love it. So, is there any words of inspiration that you would like to share with everyone before we say goodbye to you?
Well, I guess I always, I was talking to someone the other day and they said, how are things going? And I said, things are going really well. And I do have some other things in the fire that I really can't talk about. And if they come to fruition, that will be amazing.
Beautiful.
But
Another reason to have you back.
Yeah. Our
love
door
it.
is always
Right,
open.
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, he said, I hope you never stop doing this because you just, whether it's your singing, whether it's your comedy, you always make me happy in whatever you do. And I said to him, well, no, I said, because my motto is never surrender, never give up. And I just never will because this was something I committed to. And when I commit to something, my therapist always said to me, when you say something, you better mean it. Because if you go back on that, people will know you're full of shit and they'll walk all over you. So,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
so that's it,
Well,
never surrender, never give up.
I personally want to thank you again for honoring me and now us with this incredible
Thank
interview.
you.
Boom,
Yeah.
boom, I love you, man. What would you like to say?
I love you
Same.
too, Jared. John. Nice to meet you. Great voice. I love it.
I
Fabulous.
appreciate it. Thank you. I mean, it's side note for a moment. I came down about a month ago with whatever the galloping crud was that it was floating around there, and it went right to my voice, and
Jesus.
it was like Samson getting a haircut. I'm like a fish out of water, and I'm
Yeah.
finally. Even right now, I'm at about 95, 96%. It's still, there's once in a while. But thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. And I'm
welcome.
so
And
glad
please-
to have met you, and I'm looking forward to knowing you more and having you back.
Yeah, and check out the shows whenever they're near me. We'll start building up the calendar more. This is a
Yeah.
specialty show, so it's not something you're going to see in a comedy club. It's a big show.
No, that's positive. I mean, I see that there's several venues that are, not too awful far away. Later on next year at the Brook Arts Center in Bound Brook. We were just there not too long ago for a big rock and roll review. So yeah, stuff like that. Let's keep that lamp lit. Absolutely.
Cool. And tell your backstage guy, Ruben, hit me up whenever he wants, okay?
Absolutely.
Ruben, there you go, baby. Everybody flirts with Ruben,
Look
man.
at this guy.
He's smiling. He's smiling.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what, good stuff.
Merry Christmas, okay?
Merry Christmas.
And Happy New Year. All the best. God bless.
And
Love you.
also with you.
Love you. Thanks,
Love you.
Mayor.
Ciao,
boom,
ciao.
boom, everybody.
See you now.
Bye-bye.
So, what do you want to say? You have some silliness here, I'm sure you want to share.
Well, I figured, we always do something a little goofy to wrap up the program here. So tonight being no different, news from the You Can't Make This Stuff Up department.
Here we
Okay. Okay, here we go. From around the world, up the block, and around your street. Here we go. How about this one? A bite? Why not make him a meal? Dateline, North Carolina. On July 7th, 21-year-old Abby Nicole Saunders of Lexington, North Carolina, was arrested after allegedly taking many bites of her 29-year-old boyfriend, Brandon McDowell. This happened after he grabbed the TV remote and flipped through the channels without, mind you, asking her permission. Hell hath no fury, boys and girls, especially boys. Learn it, know it, live it. What?
Wait.
No waiting.
All right.
Story's not over.
Oh,
The
my God.
incident occurred at approximately 3 p.m. It says here, Brandon walked into the room where Abby was watching television. She reportedly was engrossed deeply in whatever the TV show that she was watching. Brandon grabbed said remote and switched the TV channels, surfing for something different. Abby, infuriated by her boyfriend ruining, if you will, her TV show, lunged at him, biting him numerous times. The police were called into the home for domestic disturbances. Brandon was found with multiple bite marks on the side of his neck, his right forearm, and in the inside of his left upper arm. He also had a red mark on his chest, which was due to being struck by Abby's hand. Abby Nicole Saunders was arrested and charged with assault. Hell's bells, kids. With the way she was mowing on her boyfriend, she could have had a salt and pepper and a little hot sauce, shoved him in the oven to make a damn meal out of him.
Can I say something now?
Please and thank you.
How old were they?
She was 21, he was 29.
Who called the cops?
Doesn't. I don't know if it's. It just says the police were called to the home for the domestic disturbance.
Did they live together? I'm just curious about all this craziness.
Again, answers
All right.
questions to which I have no
All right.
answers. All I
All
know that she was mowing on him, trying to make him a meal.
Okay.
They call it assault. I say have a salt, a pepper, and a little hot sauce. Put him in the oven and eat him up. This way, you get rid of the evidence.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Next up, we have the flying fecal finger of fate.
I don't even want to ask.
Monday evening, May 14th, surveillance footage. This comes from Canada, by the way. Surveillance footage caught an intensely disturbing confrontation between a woman and a barista. The video ends with the woman flinging feces at the worker. The incident occurred at approximately 6:15 p.m. at a Tim Hortons on Douglas Crescent in Langley, British Columbia, Canada. It's Canada because if you live there, you're Canadian.
So it's Canada.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Well,
So-
Italy and Italian. All right, just continue.
It's Italian, isn't it?
Okay.
Okay. The footage, which is without sound, by the way, the security camera footage shows the irate woman screaming and angrily wagging her finger at the Tim Hortons employee. The woman then pulled out paper towels from the front counter area. She then leans back on the wall into a squatting position. The employee sees the woman dropping deuces, if you will, on the floor, runs to the back of the store. The woman then picks up her fecal matter and throws it at the employee. That's a shitty thing to do. She then proceeds to wipe her hands and backside with the towelettes and then throws them at the staff and on the ground. Thankfully, she pulled up her leggings before exiting the popular coffee location. Tim Hortons released a statement detailing that the woman became irate after the employee refused her entry into the bathroom, the restroom. Our current understanding, per Tim Hortons, is that the team member used their discretion in this case, or maybe it should be more Canadian. Yeah, sure. Our current understanding is that the team member used their discretion in this case, and denied access to the guest based upon behavior and out of concern for the immediate safety of the team members. As everything escalated, the team member contacted local authorities for assistance. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police Corporal Holly Largy, she's a big gal, she confirmed that they received a complaint of the incident. The woman was retained, detained, and then released. She is due to attend court at such a later date. Such a crappy thing to do, especially with all that perfectly good food and coffee around.
A coffee.
We're not in Jersey. It's Canada.
Oh, got it.
Next up, from Florida, from Okaloosa, Florida, pool or pond? I don't know. I always say pond would be good for you, but whatever. We'll go with however it flows out here. On Tuesday, March 27th, a woman from Okaloosa Island, Florida, left her family in warm water as she forgot to put her car in park, it says here. Caused her vehicle to roll into a nearby swimming pool. Yep, mom parked the car near the pool and ran back to the apartment forgetting that she needed money. So she went back for money, and apparently that wasn't the only thing she had forgotten. She mistakenly had not put her vehicle in park. Her husband and daughter were in the vehicle as it began to roll towards said swimming pool. The police responded to a, quote, car in the pool incident at approximately 2 o'clock p.m. They stated that all parties are okay as the husband and the daughter managed to escape unharmed. From the Okaloosa Sheriff's Department. New meaning to the term carpool. Mom thought she put the car in park and she ran back in the apartment to grab some cash. Apparently, it didn't go all the way into park because the husband and daughter were in the car when it went in the pool. All parties are okay, says one of the deputies who responds to the car in the pool call just after 2 o'clock. Word is, next time this woman is thinking of attempting the same stunt, but will park near a pond instead. More on that, I'm sure, as it all goes down. Thank you. And last but not least, not one, but two? Why not? On November 8th, 20-year-old Julio, Julio, was it Rodriguez or Rodriguez? Because isn't it Chai Rodriguez, the golfer?
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, Julio Rodriguez was caught attempting to steal not one, but two, count them, two locomotives, which is perfect for me, and the accompanying train from the Union Pacific Railroad in the Phoenix, Arizona area. This occurs, it says here, on the same day, get this, the same day he was released from jail. Apparently, young Julio was on a mission to head straight back to the land of incarceration. Mr. Rodriguez entered the Union Pacific Rail Yard in the area out near Phoenix, Arizona, 7th and East Lincoln Street. He got up into the engineer's seat of the train's locomotive and the front locomotive, and began pushing buttons and pulling levers. He also blew the train horn, which attracted the attention of other Union Pacific employees who were nearby. The Union Pacific Railroad police arrived at the scene to investigate. At that point, they spotted young Julio sitting in the locomotive operator's seat. He admitted to the police that he was hiding from the employees. His intention was, in fact, to steal the train, and that he had been reading the instructions inside the locomotive on how to operate it.
Oh, my God.
They reported, the police did it, that revealed that if Julio had moved one lever into gear and applied the throttle, one that he didn't, by the way, he would have been able to get away once again with not one, but two, count them, two locomotives, as the train he was trying to operate was known as what is called a double header, a train with two locomotives in the front because it's long enough that it needs two locomotives. Julio Rodriguez was arrested and has been charged with burglary, theft, and criminal trespassing. It says here the value of the locomotives he attempted to steal is estimated to be $500,000. Gives a whole new meaning to the expression of right track, wrong train. KYW News Time, 6:55. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. Coming up, news on the hour to keep you informed. That's all of it. What have you got?
Oh, okay. So listen, where do you find this stuff?
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
All right. All right. So ridiculous, funny, crazy, insane.
From the you can't make this stuff up department. I am a big, whether you know or don't, and now you do, since I'm 3 years old, am a huge fan of trains. Little ones, the full-size ones, anything in between. The amusement park size, I want one for the yard. I will have one. Trust me when I tell you.
And this guy was trying to steal one.
I would never, ever, in a gazillion years, as Forrest Gump would say, think about stealing one. I might go to the guy over at the rail yard and say, "Excuse me, sir, who do I speak to about getting the ride along up in the locomotive cab?" And if that's even possible. But I'm not going in there and trying to steal the damn thing.
Okay. Craziness.
Wackiness. Silly, nutty, crazy, goofy. Donald Duck, whatever you want to say.
These are things you can't make up.
And they happen all of the damn time. We'll have more next time in 2 weeks when we come back with another rousing edition of news from the You Can't Make This Stuff Up department.
We have a really cool guest for you. It's going to be a surprise. You don't want to miss it.
Yes.
And he will be live in studio.
Nice.
Okay.
The 28th of December, that's 2 weeks from this day. You can catch it here. You can catch it on YouTube. You can catch it on the various and sundry Facebook pages. My John Thielon Facebook page, the Jerry Petito Facebook page, the radio, movie, TVs, and all media Facebook page, Hamilton Radio, various Facebook pages associated with our lovely friends here at Hamilton Radio. It's going to be everywhere. So don't you, as will this. So don't you dare miss it.
Good job.
And good job, FM.
Okay, that's a wrap, guys.
Yeah. Ruben, cue the music, sir, because that's the news, and we're out of here.